Hello, my name is Martin Allpress and I'm going to show you how to prepare a very simplified cash book for a small business. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to imagine that you're running a small gift shop online which is selling all sorts of gift ideas like wrapping paper, bows, balloons and things of that nature. Okay, so just to start, this is the first page. There are three tabs here. One's called Cash Book Receipts. The second one is called Cash Book Payments. If I click on it, it'll transfer to Cash Book Payments. And then the last one is it says P&L account, which stands for Profit and Loss. So first of all, I'll turn to the Cash Book Receipts, and you'll see here I've got some headings in place already, which says date, type of cash transfer, description. We've got a note in here which I'll take out. I'll leave that in for a moment actually. Folio number, which is just a way of numbering each transaction. Amount, banked, not banked, and total. These are four headings I'd like you to leave alone in terms of putting any figures in it, because in here are calculations for the figures that I want you to enter on the right hand side here where my cursor is showing. And you'll see that if you click on the boxes just using a left click on your mouse, that there's various sums and calculations in here already. Please don't alter those, but they're being created using this icon up here in the top right hand side. Okay, so let's begin. First of all, I want you to assume you are selling these things online. I haven't really thought too much about the products, but I've already written some in: Christmas cards, wrapping paper, ribbon, boxes and calendars. I think they're all spelled correctly. So let's assume that we have a customer on the 1st of November, on the 1st of November 2022, and their name is Julie Jones. There we are. So that's the person buying them, and they're buying balloons. Now, and now we haven't got a heading for balloons just yet, so I'm going to put in here the word balloons, and so then we've got a heading for balloons. And what we'll do is just click on the left click on it to highlight the line so I know where I am. They're going to buy £45 worth of balloons. And you see that £45 is in the box there, and it's automatically filled out these three boxes here. And that's £45 in total, 45 banked, and 45 is the amount. Now, I've got 4 columns because I will use those later if you send me the cash book, but I'll explain in another video why I've got 4 columns. Just a moment, don't worry. And let's assume we've got another transaction on the 2nd of November 2022. So you put the date in there like that. Just type it in. It automatically, on your Excel sheet, it will automatically put in the date. If it doesn't, then just highlight a box or a number of boxes, go right click on your mouse, and then at right click you'll find an opportunity to format cells down the bottom here. If you left click on that format cells, it will come up with an option eventually. We'll give it a few moments. Hopefully it will come. There we are. And it says date, time. Now it should say date, but if it doesn't say date and it says something like number, and if you go OK there, that date will just change into a number. So you go right click on here, go back to format cells, and you put back to date there, and it will convert that date to where it was originally, the 1st and the 2nd of November. So the 2nd of November, you get another order and you dispatch it to James Smith. And James Smith wants to buy a number of things, so you can put various, and they want to spend, let's say, £12 worth of balloons. They bought £34 worth of wrapping paper, and they bought £10 worth of ribbon, and they've bought a calendar for £5. And you can see it's automatically added those figures up to £61, and it's put the three amounts in there as well. So you see, therefore, we have 2 transactions in total over 2 days. and those transactions will be totaled up at the bottom here. And you see the totals at the bottom here, right? And that's all the sales that have been made. And again, I've got the description here of what they are. Now, those descriptions I've carried forward to something called the P&L account, the profit and loss account, which I showed you earlier. And this profit and loss account is here, and these words have been added into them. So you've got Christmas cards, wrapping paper, ribbon, calendars, and balloons. Now, for some reason, I put a matter in there, but if you click on here, you can see this is from the cash book receipts tab here, and therefore you've got the different descriptions here with the different amounts there. So as you can see, you can start to build this up even more. You can show the sales you've made. Now, for some reason, it hasn't connected onto K5. I don't know what that is, but we can just simply jump into K5 and see what's happening. Ribbons. I don't know why I haven't connected just yet. But for the moment, it doesn't really matter because this is just a matter of entering in these figures here. And if it doesn't carry through, don't worry just yet. So then, once you've done all that, you should go through your statements or however you're collecting, wherever the money is going into your account. It might be going to various banks, which is okay, or might be just taken in cash. And what would be also helpful if you can put down here whether it was paid in cash, or this one might have been paid by a transfer. And if you have a number of banks, you should put which bank it is. For this purpose, I've written Barclays. But this helps me if I'm going to analyze these later on. It helps me more identify the various transactions. Now, I assume that's fairly simple because you probably won't have many products, but this is a good way of working out what's your best sellers in a later date as well. So it's useful to have that analyzation through your cash book, but you don't have to have. But I would recommend it. For cash payments, it's very similar. In fact, it's almost the same. But in this case, you're putting down the things you're purchasing to run your business. So the 1st of November, 1st / November 2022. Let's say you have to go to you have to buy some insurance. So you pay by direct debit, and you have some insurance, and you pay GLO, Global Insurance. And Global Insurance Company, obviously you need to put down the figure you're paying for the insurance. It might be £1,000. Click return and you get £1,000 going there, and it also fills the 3 columns here. Now, if there's something that has VAT on it, 2nd of November, next transaction 2022, you can put a full stop or a backslash in, whichever you prefer. I prefer the backslash, but it's entirely up to you whether you put 2.11.22 or 2/11./22. It doesn't really matter. It'll still record the date. And let's say, for instance, you bought some bulk wrapping paper. And let's just say you bought it from Jones, the wrapping paper supplier, and you paid with cash. All right. So you've got the 3 details of what it is, who you bought it from, and where. And then here we'll just put down stationery. I'll just put stationery. It could be stock. We can change that to stock if we wanted to. Stock. And then we'll put down stock. And let's say we bought £2,600 worth of stock. Now, 2,400 pounds worth of stock. Now, the reason why I put that figure in is because that may well should be on a separate line, by the way. Each transaction must be on a separate line. Now that will be 2005. That will include, I don't know what's happened now. For some reason I haven't captured that figure. That should have captured that. I don't know why I hadn't. So let's just check in why that's wrong there. Format cells. Number. Okay. Okay. So that's not working. So what I discovered, I stopped the video for this, is here, click on here, you can see this is all the columns that are adding together, H7, I7, J7, K7. These are going from right, left to right here. Now, for some reason, that is shown M7. I don't know why, probably an error on my part, but now I've made it so it covers all those boxes. So if you add another figure in here, let's say you also pay them a service charge, and that would increase this amount to £6,300. But for the moment, this figure will include VAT. So if you're not VAT registered, you can't recover your VAT. So you need to put the gross amount in of all purchases you make, regardless of whether there's VAT on them or not. This is important. A lot of people take the VAT out, but you can't recover your VAT unless you're VAT registered. And you have to VAT register if your turnover is over £85,000 a year. But for this purpose, you must put in all VAT, because I'm assuming on this simple cash book you're not VAT registered. So you go through all your purchases you've made over the years, over the year of trading that we want to demonstrate, and then this will then also transfer automatically, because I put the links in to these columns here, or should do, but as you can see, for some reason it's not transferring now. What I'll do then is I'll just highlight here, transfer, or maybe it is. So here we've got 500,000 pounds. So yes, it is. So these are all carrying forward from the cash book payments tab here, and you can see I-92 is a total at the bottom of this column here. I-92 is total there. I-92. Okay, so hopefully that's fairly simple and straightforward. And then you just need to put all those in. And what I suggest you continually do all the time is click on the save button, which is just at the top here. It's just out of screenshot for you. But if you click on the save button in the top right, it usually is, save it regularly, because then you will have an update. And if you make a mistake, you can just go back by clicking on these buttons here at the left, which are usually by the file icon here, or Word file, and you go backwards and forwards. So if I click this backwards, you'll see that the entries start to change as I change notes on this page. You see I'm clicking on them, and you'll see they're going back. And that was where I found the mistake here, where it was M7 showing. Oh no, go forward one. So this one here, this one showed a line here, which had that M7 was an M8. So if I go back further, we'll find that error. Hopefully, click there, click there, click there, move to that, and that was an error there. And when you click on there, you can find it was showing reference number rather than M7. I don't know what it jumped at. Sometimes it does that sort of thing. But anyway, if you go forward again, this one's going forward. This then brings it right up to date as to where we got to last time. Save that again. Continually have the habit of saving everything you do so you don't lose it. And let's assume we've got another transaction going for us on the 4th of November 22. And from Mr. Daniels, Daniels, you bought some what can you have bought? You can bought food, I suppose. But as you're not in the food business, let's just say you bought balloons. Balloons, change the word to balloons, and then you bought £1,900 worth of balloons. A lot of expensive balloons, but there we go. That's then carried forward, and you'll see, because I've changed the word up here, balloons, you'll see the balloons word then appears here in the profit and loss account. And what the profit and loss accounts will show you will be whether you're making a profit or loss on the business transactions that you're doing. Obviously, we've only entered a few number of receipts in here, which comes to £106, and we've got expenses of rather a lot of stock you purchased here, and then you end up with a net profit. Now, it's a very simple form. There's not a balance sheet in this cash book. It's just simply a way of recording the transactions. If we need to do a balance sheet, we'll have to do a lot more work to create a balance sheet. At this stage, we don't need a balance sheet because I can work a balance sheet out from other figures that we have, and we can discuss that at a later date. But this is just a simple cash book to record your transactions. And I'd recommend you do this on a weekly basis at least, so you don't fall behind. You don't need to have receipts. But one thing I would suggest is that when you buy anything, you keep the receipt in a filing system of your own choice, and you number each transaction you enter into here with a folio number here, and you keep those in batches. I keep them in batches of a month, but it's entirely up to you how you want to do it. I'd also keep them in a safe place so you know where to go to them each time, and really make the effort to keep them nice and neat. Because if everyone wants to look at them, you can then show them, and the numbers that you put on each one will then tie up with the transactions you've entered. And it's important not to keep them in date order, because sometimes you'll get a receipt or a payment going through your bank statements or your system you're using to find the information later date than another transaction. So sometimes they'll be out of date order. But if you keep it in folio order, it's much easier to recover the information. And the same applies to the payments you make. I definitely keep those transactions also with a number. That's why I've got folio number here. I hope that makes some sense. I'm sure it will be complicated initially, but as you work through it, you'll find it makes a lot of sense. But please give me a call or a text or a message on the links below for any more information. Cheers. Thanks very much. All the best.